Are you a painting pro? Do you own your own business? Or are you thinking about going out on your own as a professional painter? If that's you, stick around because you're my people. It's time to have a truck talk. Let's take a ride and talk some painting. If there's two huge things that I think a prospective business owner should know about or be thinking about before you go out on your own and start your own painting business, and I'm sure that this applies to a lot of other types of businesses, especially other home service businesses, is there's two big things. You really got to understand all of your responsibilities and liabilities as an employer. Now, if you're going to go out on your own and just be a sole proprietor and never employ anybody, whether they're W-2 or subcontractors, then you're going to, if that's the case, then you will eliminate a lot of what I'm going to talk about. But if your vision and your image is about you being a leader of an organization and employing people, you must, before you take this plunge, you have to understand all your responsibilities and liabilities, because they are huge and extensive, even for small companies. Everything associated with employment and payroll, HR, OSHA, employees, rights and responsibilities, everything having to do with taxation, both for yourself and for your employees, sales tax. It's extensive. So you have to understand that it is not for the faint of heart. You probably can't be a business owner without waking up at certain points of nights worried about something like that somewhere along the line. The other thing that you need to understand is numbers. And you have to look at money and numbers and finances different than you probably ever had, unless you've already been really successful financially, or you're educated, maybe you're a finance major, or maybe you came from money. And if you did, God bless you. People that are driven to want to do that, it's because they haven't had a lot of success financially. They've never really had money to manage and deal with. So that is the biggest learning curve, is if you're going to be in business, you're going to be handling money. You're going to be handling larger sums of money that might seem like it's a lot of money at one point, but then you're going to quickly realize that what you thought was bigger amounts of money before really isn't. And you're going to see how quickly money is brought in and then as quickly disappears. And once you get over that shocking aspect of being a business owner, then it really comes down to understanding what your costs are, so that you can properly price your services or products or whatever. In the case of painting, it's very difficult. That's the big challenge, is how do you price your services properly? And the biggest way you do that is budgeting. And you budget by understanding what your costs are, or setting boundaries for what your expenditures can be and all that. Budgeting is huge. Again, understanding your costs, and then not only having it established, but then you having it as a template to measure what success is on a job. Yeah, we want to make customers happy. That's obvious, but that alone is not a successful job. It wasn't successful financially. My biggest problem I had in the early days of my business is I didn't have a way to measure financial success on a job in relative real time and to do it quickly. So while I might have thought that things were going okay because there was money there, once everything comes through and clear, and you really get into it and start analyzing your performance on a particular job, you're like, oh wow, you start to realize, man, that didn't go well, and that was 6 months ago, and I'm just realizing that, and I haven't been able to make the appropriate adjustments to be better because it took me too long. You're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. You'll learn from them. But if you take too long to recognize your mistakes, that's where you're going to get into that hamster wheel of continuing to make mistakes, and then you're just trying to chase selling more work to stay afloat for jobs, and you're selling jobs that aren't going to be successful. So that's so huge, and that's where I think the people that can figure that out quicker, or hopefully before they even start a business, are the ones that are going to be successful and survive. If you don't, you better be ready to work your tail off. If you're making mistakes like that, the only way you're going to get out of it is with good old-fashioned sweat equity. You better be an absolute dog that refuses to fail and to be set down. you better work. You're going to have to work your way out of it. But work smarter, not harder, right? Is the age-old saying. So, understanding the numbers and budgeting and pricing, huge, and then understanding your responsibilities and liabilities, man. By far the two biggest things you got to understand before you start a business, in my opinion. And then once you start it, the biggest challenge is not going to be generating leads and conducting business with customers. It's going to be developing people and building a team. By far, way harder than generating leads. Thanks for watching.